You're now listening to So You Were Saying
with Dora and Lex.
Tune in every Friday for the latest episode. Hey guys.
Hey y'all.
We are back with another episode of
So You Were Saying
with your host
Dora
and Lex.
Boom. Doo, doo. Oh, you don't want to join me today? Okay, screw y'all. She said, I ain't your friend.
I'm telling you, y'all, I swear.
Nope.
We are too much today.
Too much.
Way too much. We have had a heck of a day. We've been in our element and we have been super focused.
We're hashtag productive.
Super productive.
Mm-hmm.
Getting everything like straight for you guys. And hopefully you enjoy these this past month of episodes because realistically
they've been really fun to record.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the most ourselves we've been
in a while.
Yeah. Like, and it's just very, because even like recording some of these episodes, I'm like, damn, like we said a lot. Like, I don't feel like we said too much, but we said a lot. Like we were very like
definitely said a lot, but
transparent.
I also feel like we've come so far.
Yes.
I feel like we've come so far individually that it's allowed us to be in the space that we're in now.
I feel like this season we should just name it From August to June. Because that's just what it is. From August to June, and that's August 2022 to June 2023.
Yeah.
Ooh, that ride
has been a heck of a ride. Like, so much has happened individually for us that we have definitely stepped, I feel like, into a different era.
Yes.
Like a huge, like, at least speaking for myself, shifting from not just becoming single, but releasing the power that was had over me by my daughter's father was such a big shock. First for myself, but it was also such a big relief because that I'm not exhausted anymore.
Right.
Whereas before, I was exhausted every single day. It didn't matter how much sleep I got. I was just tired. And most people won't know that because somebody said something to me today. It was like, you wear your problems very well. He was like, you don't wear your problems on your emotions or your heart on your sleeve. He's like, you don't wear your heart on your sleeve. And it's so funny because the old me absolutely did. Absolutely did. So that has been such a shift for me that I love where I am mentally. And I never thought I'd get here.
Beautiful thing. I'm still, I mean, if you've listened to my Jesus prayer, I was like, Lord Jesus, how you gonna give me the happiest time of my life and also the most uncertainty? And you not taking me out right now, so I understand I need to go through this. Because if not, you would have taken me out. So you understand that my troubles are not, above me. I just have to go through them. So yeah, I mean, like I said, things are not by any way, shape, or form perfect, but they are good and they are great.
Right.
And I am very thankful.
Not here to give you guys the illusion that life is all grand.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Because trust me, I got so many problems going on.
Did you not hear the last episode?
I have so much going on, but I'm still at peace.
Yeah. It's definitely like, I always, when I'm speaking with my partner, we always say like hashtag first world problems, because really it's just like hashtag first world problems. Yeah. It's just, it's the concern about growth. It's the concern about stepping up to the next level. It's not, I'm not trying to survive. I'm already surviving. I'm already living. I just want to level up at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've also come to terms with the fact that you will always have a problem.
Of course.
Like you will always have a problem, right? And I feel like how you choose to accept your problems will determine how at peace you are with your life.
Yeah.
So with all of that being said,
I was about to say that's not what we're going to cover.
Right. With all of that
here.
being said, today's topic is actually
my type of feminine.
Exactly. Which still kind of falls into where we are in our lives right now.
It's good.
And how we got here, right? So a lot of what we just said really brings us to where we are. Whereas in Dora's case, sis is.
Excuse me. What?
I'm going to say what I'm going to say.
Say it with your chest.
In Dora's case, she is in a very healthy relationship that allows for her feminine side to shine. Whereas, and this is just me outside looking in, right? In her previous relationships, both relations and relationships, she was not able to flourish in her soft girl era, as people say, right?
Yes.
Because she was very head honcho. I'm gonna make sure, this shit gets handled. Period.
Period.
And now, like, I see her, and it's such a different.
Do you actually observe that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love your person for you. I love your person for you. I feel like he provides you so much balance.
Yes.
I feel like he definitely allows you to not just be feminine, but he provides a sense of safety and security and affection that allows you to let go. Whereas I've seen you before and you've never been able to do that.
Yeah.
So when I see you with him, your whole aura is different. Your whole aura.
It's crazy. But when they say like it takes the right type of two energies to just flow in continuous excellence, like it really is that. And I don't know who says that. I said that. But I was like, that's not a common saying. It's a me thing. It's like, two pots, one pot. That's also me saying. But anyways, it's crazy. It's like, it's insane because, like I said, things are not perfect. There are challenges that come even when you're in a healthy relationship that is thriving. There are going to be conflicts that you still have to find resolutions for. Absolutely. Some that you have resolutions for immediately and others that you don't. For us, it is that time where there's conflicts, there's no resolution right now. It's not that both him and I aren't trying. It's just the universe hasn't given us the answer just yet.
Right.
And it's not for lack of effort, because that's, excuse me, that's definitely not the case. There is effort. It's just, it's not the right time.
Right.
And for that being said, with even meeting him and being in this space, I really, really, really bring down the point to the timing was just perfect. Because I needed to experience everything that I did before to then be ready to appreciate the situation that has been granted for me now.
Right.
Because before, I kid you not, and like I tell him all the time, you would have not been on my radar whatsoever. I would have never been able to appreciate what you brought to the table because I didn't respect it as something that I needed. And it's funny because now, looking back at that, I'm like, girl, you wild. Whenever I see women, no, I'm so serious. Whenever I see women that are like, oh, independent. And again, there's nothing wrong with you being an independent person, right? Or you wanting to make your own money. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I will tell you is I like being in my soft girl era. I like being dependent and knowing that I have a person that I can be dependent and that will actually be a backbone, not just, like they say in Spanish, boca pa fuera, which is just like a fake person just saying, oh, I'm just going to say that I'm going to be with you, but actually having a person to back you up, two different things. Mind blown.
And that's why they say actions are louder than words.
Right.
Yeah, because how you show up in your actions will always, 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 always overpower what you say out of your mouth.
But also the aspect that I never appreciated so much as I appreciate now is the spirit. the spirit.
Yeah, he definitely does that for you.
I never put as much value as I put now into that profess P. Like if we're talking about the protect, provide, profess.
And most people don't even know. Some people, sorry, not most people. Some people won't even know what you're referencing.
Right. Well, it's just the belief that, I guess like a traditional man is supposed to protect, security of their household, provide financial security, and then profess, which is basically the aspect of whether you want to attribute it to your belief in God, but just vision and everything. Then that's why I'm saying like
vision on your family.
Right. I never, and I also reference it as spirit, because a person that is very much into their faith, whether that's believing God or the universe or just that vision that keeps them
your why.
Right.
Your why.
Exactly. That keeps them pushing forward. It gives you a different type of security. Like I cannot explain it, because it's like, I don't need you. Like it's crazy because sometimes you wake up and like your strength is not at 100%. But by having a person,
that part.
Right. But by having a person that is so into their own and understands the vision of where the group, the family wants to go, will always put you back into your place, and not in a bad sense, just will redirect you like, hey, remember what we talked about? A is stop A is coming up. Stop B is next. Stop C, and so forth and so on. And I never valued that so much coming from my partner, because I never looked for individuals that had that characteristic, because I was so much that person. But having that responsibility is a big hat to hold.
It is.
A huge hat to hold. And it's just insane. Like, it's just insane that I ever accepted people that
were
less.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm like, what?
I heard someone say recently that there's no award in suffering. And I don't mean that just in financials. I know and when I heard it, that's what she was referencing, because they were talking about, there's no shame in wanting to be with a rich man.
Right.
Because of the financial security that can provide. But when I say it, yes, finances are a huge part of it. But as a whole, having a man who has the vision for the collective makes such a difference in how you show up in that relationship.
Right.
Because it allows you not just for you to just, sit back. Because again, I am definitely trying to be somebody's
woman of leisure
eventually in my life. Not right now. Right now I'm very much in my independent, figuring things out for myself, which different topic for a different day. But it holds a different weight when you can trust that your person has the collective at the forefront, because it allows you to feel okay even when you're dropping the ball. Whereas before, if you drop the ball, it was like all hell is gonna break loose. Oh my God, my life is falling apart. I'm crumbling under all the pressure. But it takes a lot of weight off your shoulders. And it's not to say that it adds to theirs, right? And it probably does. I can't speak for the type of man that is, because I'm pretty sure that it does. But it allows a balance within the home to get you to where you're trying to go as a whole.
And there's always like a sense of like coverage, like I got you. And I don't know, from just speaking, again, I can't speak for all men, but from having conversations with my person, it also ties into the male sense of drive to provide in a way, because it's always that like from what he's explained, the more into my feminine energy and into my specific role, I am. And again, this is just the dynamic that works for us. I want to be very clear. There's different dynamics that work for other individuals. And this is the dynamic that I chose because, and we'll get into that a little bit later, because it was definitely like, as I progressed, this is not what I originally was seeking when I was dating, but I quickly found out that this is where I want to be. But basically, oh my God, I just kicked my own thought process. So, so basically it's just like the more I am in my feminine energy and within my role, it triggers an innate, I guess, what's the word? Male drive for him to be in his energy, which it means to keep, the vision alive, to keep the financial stable, to keep the protection and, praise on top of our family and our collective.
Yeah. It's crazy because when I sit back and I look at people's relationships, and not for envy or even comparison, but more so knowledge, it's mind-blowing to see how different dynamics bring out different versions of different people.
Absolutely.
Because some people in a home where a man is providing financially, but that man lacks vision, it's not the same as a man who maybe he's not providing financially fully right now, but has the vision, and they operate so differently.
Because it's like a chicken without a head.
Exactly.
It is. It's
like, I can give you money,
right?
But without direction to get us to a space where we are elevating, it's
So okay, so you want to know what's so funny is we were talking about this just recently, and I'm sorry, babe, I'm about to disclose some information. But we were talking about that because my partner is really good at the providing. He is a workhorse. Like that is who he is. Like, he was raised with the mentality of, you are a man, you wake up, brush your teeth, take a shower, get your ass to work. Right? You come back, you be a family man, you do whatever, and on Sundays you go pray. Right? That's exactly how he was raised. But what you always are is the backbone of your family. But the other aspect is, and it's funny because we were talking about this specific quote, is sometimes a queen can make moves that a king cannot.
Exactly.
And
that's how that I was trying to say earlier.
Right. So the second part to that is he grew up seeing his father do that, right? Be a workhorse, then be a family man, and then on Sundays go to church. Right. But he also picked up the same habit of, they're great at making money and they're great at providing the vision. Like, this is where we need to go next. This is where we need to do this, that, blah, blah, blah. But they're not necessarily the best at the administration. And that's where their queen falls into play. And that's where it's just like, oh, if you analyze his parents, his mother was the administrator of everything. Right. So it was literally like, here's a check. You know where we got to go.
Back to my point of, there's a difference in the household, because if you have a man who can provide but lacks vision, that man is not going to understand that the queen needs to administrate everything else in order for things to facilitate properly.
Right. Because it's just also, as women, we see certain details that men will miss.
Easily.
It's just it.
Easily. And I know that because I'm speaking from my own experiences. Like, for a fact, this person could make money.
Right.
Why was there a struggle? Because they did not have
vision. Right.
And with the lack of vision, they were unable to allow the queen to be a queen. Therefore, it caused problems.
Right.
So when you see that, you're like, oh. And I wouldn't have paid attention to that. Crazy enough. That would not have even been a thing for me had you not met your person.
But you want to know what's funny is, even through growing up and seeing that, we still had our first little like tiff towards that. Right. But the funny thing is, because I am in my soft girl, like passenger princess mission in life right now, my reaction to all of it was different. Like, he unfortunately had a situation happen with his vehicle, right? Where his vehicle was temporarily detained because he's just a person that does not open mail.
Right.
And that's just who he is. A lot of men are like that. I don't know why. Y'all just don't pay attention.
Many
Again,
secretaries.
Exactly. And that's what it's like. Their queens are their secretaries, like not in a bad sense. But so the vehicle was detained. And then obviously, in order to have it be released, we had to pay bail. And it was just kind of like he was tripping hand over, and he was like, oh my goodness, like, how could this be? And like, just so upset. And it's just like, I can't, like, and previous independent single women, me would have been like, oh, this is why I told you, blah, 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 blah. Not me now. I found the solution. I knew exactly. Actually, I didn't find the solution. I knew where it was. Like, there was no think about the question. No, the answer is A. It's A. It's A. No other options. Exactly. There's no other options. Originally, it should have been C, but it's A now.
It's A now.
This is what it is. And he was just like shocked. He's like, but, and I said, this is all I said. I would allow you to soak and do what you need to do for your male ego. When you are ready to have a conversation and truly be open with me, let me know.
Exactly.
Let me know.
There is so much power in silence that I don't think people realize. Like, there's so much power in silence and allowing the person to have their moment and then speaking when
they're ready.
When ready. Exactly. And for a man, at least, again, y'all, obviously I have a vagina. We know this. So I'm just speaking from my perspective as the woman looking
at a man.
I feel like for the man, that's such a big thing when they know that their person allows them to have their moments, to either stroke their male egos, to break down if necessary. And there are many men who they won't even break down in front of their women out of fear that they'll look weak. But for the right man, I feel like they know that their person is their safe space, and they can do that and still pick up and go, move back into the pieces that they need to.
And as a woman now currently in her soft girl era, it's definitely a learned behavior, because previous, and again, different cultures, differ, but in the Latin community, you see a lot of the independent type of mentality, which would have had your reaction, oh, por eso que te dije, blah, 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 blah. And it would have been like down his throat immediately, blah, 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 backlashing. Were there ramifications of the decisions that he made? Absolutely. But did we have a solution? Yes. Because as his queen, right, standing behind, there are also certain things that I have my own vision for. And I take my own initiative on. And it's before I didn't understand that. Like, I did not understand the power behind the women that stood by these men. And now being one of those women that stands behind, and again, I want to be very clear, by behind, I don't mean less than, right? I mean behind, because if we're going to the trench, like he always says, if we're going to the trenches, I'm going in first. Right. But I know that my backup trigger woman is sitting right there.
Right.
To my right or to my left, whichever one's more comfortable for you to shoot.
Right.
And for me, it was like mind blowing to figure this out, because I kid you not, when I was younger, I used to look down at women like that. And I was like, oh my God, they got you in your corner. Like, why is baby in the corner?
Yeah.
Not knowing.
It's such a mental shift.
Right. But not knowing, it's like, she's in no corner.
No.
She's not cornered.
She's positioned exactly where she needs to be to make sure that the unit is safe.
Exactly. Period. And it's just like, and the thing is, like, everybody just, and the funny thing of this theory of, oh, you have to do it by yourself and everything like that. you would never ask of that if it was shifted to a job. In jobs, there is a job title for each individual person.
Right.
The person that is the worker bee cannot be the queen.
Right.
And vice versa.
Right.
And we don't question it at all.
Right.
Because you understand that the CEO has a job.
Right.
The COO has a job. The CFO has a job. The director has a job. The VP has a job. And all of the specialists have a job.
And you don't question it.
And you don't question it. And when you go to shift and ask the CEO to do the specialist job, guess what? Most times they can't.
Right.
Because it's not their job. And they don't hold the qualifications for it. But why, when it's come and structured into a partnership, we have such a problem with it?
Well, because we're raised like that. We're raised like that. And
Yeah.
a lot of it is cultural, right? A lot of it is very cultural. But we are raised in that mentality of, one, don't tell me what to do. That was a big one for me. And it wasn't until reflecting on my relationship with Penelope and how I was flawed in that relationship, because trust me, I was flawed in many ways. And that was because we had such a cultural difference, whereas he was raised very Dominican traditional. Right. The man has a role, the woman has a role, blah, blah, blah. Whereas I was raised in a separate I was raised in a single mother household. Not that my father wasn't around, because if you know me, you know, but more so just because there was no structure in my household, right? Like, I did not learn how to be a wife from my mother. I did not learn how to be a good partner from how I was raised. And even outside of that, like the family members that I did have that were married, there was so much toxicity within those relationships that not even those were good examples. So I didn't know how to be a wife in this. Like, I know how to be loyal, I know how to be honest, but knowing how to play my role, I did not know how to do. And I was definitely that person that was like, rawr, like I would snap. Whereas now I've learned that silence is very powerful.
Right. And I think we had a conversation where there's an aspect also where it's culturally, but also there's a lack of resolution of previous trauma, where whenever you speak to someone about your situation, they will always, and especially this comes from unhealed individuals, right? They will always revert back to their experience or their trauma or their experience with trauma to give you an example as to why you shouldn't do X, Y, Z, and the third. And that's why it's just like, you have to be very careful of who you're choosing or what you're observing or internalizing as an example. Because the funny thing is, and I've been guilty of this as well, is usually when we ask for advice, you go and you go to the surrounding individuals, right? Which sometimes are family, friends, coworkers, right? However, depending on who these individuals are, like, you have to be very careful, because family can be very toxic, very traumatic, very like stuck in their ways, not looking, and also perceive you to be only the person that they viewed during that time frame where they got to know you and where the trauma lied. Because that's a thing that I realized. It's like, when you go to family members for, like, sometimes you go like to, like, even let's say like your mother, right? Or your father. It just started aggressively raining. Why? But anyways,
so random.
But like, for example, you go to your mother. Many times I've realized, and this has happened even to myself, I'm like, oh, wait, you still think that I'm the same 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old that doesn't know X, Y, Z, and the third. However, I've had so many experiences that go above your head that you're not even taking into account. But because
That
the
is
trauma,
so important.
right, because the trauma of what we're talking about happened in this aspect, you're stuck. And then you're stuck not only on that, but you're also stuck on my age gap. And now you're not taking into account of the person that I evolved into. And it's like, what am I doing taking advice from you?
Well, I told you recently, a family member of mine came to me about a situation that they have in their relationship, and I just sat back and listened. And at the end of the conversation, my response to what they shared was, I can't give you a response.
Right.
I think as I can't give you a response because I've never been in your situation, I've never been in your shoes. I would advise speak with a specialist in that area.
Right.
And the area was pre-marriage counseling. I was like, I think that you should seek pre-marriage counseling because I cannot advise you on those things. I've never had these problems.
Right.
I can listen to you. I can allow you to express, whatever, but I cannot advise you further. Period.
Yeah.
And that you cannot, and you can't. Like, you have to ask yourself, who am I really going to go to for this? And what am I going to them for? Right? Because like, if I just want to cry or vent, I'm absolutely calling you, right? I'm gonna call you, girl. I just need to get this out, get this on my chest, and then that's it. But if you're looking for answers, you cannot go to someone who has zero experience in what you're discussing and think that they're gonna give you clear, good advice.
Right.
It's just not happening. That's just no.
And sometimes it's not that they don't have the experience. It's just not where you want to be. Like, so and the way that I was able to like make it make sense in my head is I would never go to someone for financial advice that wasn't financially literate.
Exactly.
But yet we choose to get advice for, everyday problems and specifically relationship problems from people that are relationship illiterate. So it's now I've realized a lot, like people that I used to say, oh, okay, like I'm going to take your advice regarding a relationship or my partner or a certain situation. Like I no longer go to them because I'm like, your relationship from what I see is not emulating something that I want.
Right, exactly. If you look at someone and they don't have what you want, right, why in the hell would you go to them?
But we do.
For advice.
And I have.
Oh, absolutely. I'm guilty of it 1,000%. 1,000%. But duh, doodle brain. Like, what are we doing here?
Doo-doo brain.
Like, what are we doing?
Not dodo brain, doo-doo brain.
Doo-doo brain. Come on. Like, get your life together. Because you cannot... It's the blind leading the blind. It's a blind
leading the blind and deaf. Exactly. That's literally what it is. It's the blind leading the blind and deaf. It's like it's like Jose Feliciano trying to communicate with Helen Keller. If you don't know who that is, you need to find out. It's the Feliz Navidad guy. Okay, goodbye.
Oh my God. But anyways, back to the point of this topic. Being in your feminine era, right, as a woman, you will need to find the right partner. Because I'm not going to say man, because depending on your situation, whatever. Find the right partner who is going to allow you the mental security and just safety to be at ease. Because as a woman, we are not meant, I believe, my belief, you believe what you want. My belief as I step into this stage of my life is that I don't believe we were meant to protect, provide, profess. I don't believe that we were meant to be as hard as we are. I don't believe that we are meant to be as headstrong even in areas of our life as we are. But we didn't have a choice.
Right.
For so long that when the choice comes along, we don't even know how to take it.
Right.
So that's why personally, I'm not in a relationship right now. And that's because when I started to reflect on my last relationship and I looked at the things that I was doing, it's like, what do I want? I want to be able to get into my next relationship and be soft. I want to be able to get into my next relationship and understand that even if I'm not where I want to be now, I know we're going in that direction because my person is leading me in that direction.
I don't know why I want to laugh because everything that you said, no, I'm not laughing at what you're saying. You're 100% correct. I am
funny.
No.
So
it just brought up
oh, this is a joke.
No, it just brought up a situation that happened between me and my partner. And I'm sorry that I'm referencing my partner, but we're just talking about my soft girl era, okay? But I remember like one of our first conflicts, right, within our relationship.
Oh my God, was it the bags? Was it the bags?
What bags?
Remember when I remember when you told me you were like, you guys were somewhere and you were carrying the bags or whatever. He was like, give me the bags.
Oh, no, it wasn't that.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't that.
Because I definitely remember that.
We've had some silly, like, no. But I'm just talking about, like, I can't even remember what we were, like, having a tiff about. And I really was like, fight me. Like, me. I'm serious. Like, through the years, you build up some toxic habits that you don't realize.
Mm-hmm. No, you absolutely do.
And I really was like, fight me. Like, I want you to fight me. Like, I want you to raise your voice, because my partner grew up in a household where they did not raise voices. I am a Latina. I am hot-blooded. We raise voices.
In love.
In spirit, in holiness, in everything.
We are
but
loud.
We are loud. Like, we're loud on a regular basis.
Right.
But he grew up in almost a silent household. Like, literally, I speak to his parents, and sometimes I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you speak up a little bit? And like, even when they laugh, like, it's just like, and like, I'm used to cackling.
I'm so obnoxious,
right?
With my
I'm like, because it's just like, it's almost in like a Latin household. It's like how we show that we love each other. You know what I mean? And he's got, and that day, it just so happened that we were in a tiff. And literally, I looked at him and I'm like, I need you to fight me. And he looked at me. He just looked at me. And he looked back. He was washing dishes. Like, we were having a conversation. And he's like, can I ask you something? And then immediately, it was like a shift in my energy. And I'm like, wait, what? Why did you just get really low? Like, he got really low. Like, he's usually, like calm. And then he got really, like, you got your parents low. And I'm like, I can't hear you. Right?
What did you say?
I was like, what did you say? I was like, I was like, oh my God, I'm being redirected right now. Right? And I'm like,
he's like redirecting a child.
Right. Yeah. I was like, I was in my like snapping turtle face.
Yeah.
And I was being redirected. And I was trying to fight it. I was like, oh no. I was like, turn up.
It's
turn up now. Yeah. And
reprogramming.
Literally what he just said to me was something simple. He's like, are you trying to fight me? He's like, you do understand that you're not going to win. Right. And he's like, I don't mean that in like I'm gonna shove it, like, like, trying to taunt you. It's just like, realistically, it's just not going to be. If you try to square up with me, he's like, babe, I'm at least 50 pounds on you. He's like, he's dead set muscle. Right. He's like, my voice, there's octaves that you can't read. Like, he's like, it's just not happening. Like, and he's a very stern, like, military guy. Right. He's like, do you really want me to go drill sergeant on you? Because I don't think you really want that. Like, we could get loud. Right. And then it just took me back, and I just started laughing, and I was like, I really ain't trying to fight this man. I was like, I don't.
You have to ask yourself, or what I think that, I've started asking is, and again, this is all reflecting in my old relationship, y'all, because I am single.
I'm done. Don't get it confused. She's single. She said that many times.
I'm just letting y'all know.
Hit up that DM.
Don't hit my DMs. I'm tired of people in my DMs. But I would ask myself,
in the right way,
who am I fighting?
You're fighting yourself.
Exactly. And when you realize that, it hits you like, oh,
yeah.
What's the purpose?
You're fighting because
you're on the same team,
right? But realistically, and that's what, as the conversation progressed, like it's not a fight. Like the next couple of statements, it would come to the conclusion. It's like, you do understand that we're having a conversation. We're not fighting. Like, this is not a fight. Like, if you came in here ready to box, okay, Mayweather. like, just understand this is not a fight. But again, it's because
a level of maturity,
just a level of maturity, and also a level of just, I've seen that portrayed immediately every single time. Like, every Latina that I know, the moment that it has been indicated, because it's just, again, you have to think about where these women were during their time frame.
Mm-hmm.
At that point in time, some of them were in marriages where they still were single parenting,
Mm-hmm.
right? They had a lot of stress because it's not that their partners weren't providing. It's just that there wasn't any vision. So there was a misdirection of everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's just like the parenting, the misdirection, the then
And you can't
lack
be soft
of
in those
right and
relationships.
lack of nurturing, because then it's just like they're also not being nurtured to exist in their womanhood, or
which is a lack of intimacy. I
Right.
guess would be a better phrase for that would be a lack of intimacy.
right. And
Yeah.
it's just it's insane. Like then you're that's just all you perceive. And that's why I think now in this soft girl era, I am so adamant about what is demonstrated to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am so like, it's weird. And again, it's not, I don't want it to come off like a sense of entitlement, but I think that it's important. And like me and my partner talk about this all the time, and he's like big on this. He's like, it's important for people to see Black love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and again, we're an interracial couple, but we both Black. Okay. But it's just like, it's important
like it's
for,
colored.
yeah, it's like, it's important for people to see healthy. Black
Mm-hmm.
relationships
Absolutely.
of any sort. So anytime that like, and it's just like healthy Black relationships that show emotion and intimacy is very important, not just functional.
Yeah.
Because there are functional couples there, but they need to show this other level of nurturing that many times is not portrayed within our relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only thing that's ever portrayed in a healthy, I feel, is like a minority couple is always portrayed as, oh, it's healthy because it's strong.
Right. And it's not. That's not what we're aiming for.
Right.
That's
like
not
strength,
what we're aiming
like
for.
don't get me wrong, there's a lot of strength behind these couples that also have, but that's not the only aspect of it. Like we're not, there is also a softness to our women. There is also a softness to our men, but it's just, again, it's all just perceived because that's what the social norm has become.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we got here.
Well, we got here because a lot of this reflects on women's inability to be soft because of the type of relationships that we're having with these men.
Yeah.
And the type of men that we're choosing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously choice goes behind everything, but I think it's very, very important for that two family household, right? It doesn't have to be, comprise your two family the way that you want it to be. But I think it's important for children to see that dynamic of what it is to be in a healthy partnership with whomever you decide to be with. But it's important. Like it makes a difference. Like that lack of two-parent healthy household has caused a lot of damage through the years.
Absolutely.
A lot.
100%. But on that note, you guys, we are going to end it here.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining in another episode of So You Were Saying. If you don't already, please follow us on all of our social media platforms at So You Were Saying _ for most of them, or at So You Were Saying. And if you haven't already checked out all the other seasons, please go back and you will see the growth that has happened over the past. When did we start this?
The journey. Almost 2 years now.
Yeah. But until next time,
we love you. Bye.